A long time ago, not that long, the year 2001 specifically, our country, Nigeria, finally joined the world of GSM. What a glorious year it was. For poor folks like me who had spent years trying to get a Nitel line, finally we could have a phone in our pocket. I could call Zungeru, Port Harcourt, from anywhere in Nigeria. I can't forget my first mobile phone. I'm sure many people feel that way as well. And at the beginning, there were two players. Two players. One had the color yellow, and the other had the color blue. And over time, the yellow kept its name and its color, but the blue kept changing name and color. Some 5 years ago, the blue became red, and it was called Airtel. In our world, in the world of business, the customer is king, they say. So in the world of marketing and advertising, the client is king. So some 3 years ago, King Airtel, as I would like to call them, called a beauty parade. In our business, that's what we call pitches. And he wanted to have the best people in the brand building world to come and do just one thing for them. And this was the request of King Airtel. I want to be the most loved brand in the land. So we looked at ourselves. What could the king be smoking? How can you be the most loved brand in the land when nobody knew about you and you kept changing your name over time? And that was the task. So at the end of the parade, we had the luck or the fortune of being mandated on this journey of making brand Airtel the most loved brand in the land. But who am I to tell you about that story? I don't know about the story. You know the story. You are the story. So from within your midst, I'm going to be calling on stage as we go along a few people to help me in telling the story. Because after all, I'm just a moderator, just a narrator. So please join me in welcoming on stage the senior brand manager, Airtel, Seun Adaramola. You're welcome. Okay, eventually I will find myself here, but for now I'll get a bit close to her. A little bit hot here, sorry. So Seun, you're welcome. I remember, like I told our audience, back then, the task was to make Airtel the most loved brand. And we thought it was a very crazy thing to do because nobody knew Airtel. It stood for nothing. It was very functional. It was in good business maybe, but nobody reckoned with Airtel. And we had lots of brands who were doing wonderful stuff. And I can assure you for the first 1 year we were in some kind of wilderness, not knowing exactly where to take the brand. So in your estimation, would you think that the brand has been able to get close to the dream of being the most loved brand in Nigeria?
Good afternoon. Thank you, Heli, for inviting me. Good afternoon, everyone. In responding to Ellie's question, I would say yes, Airtel has become one of the most loved brands in Nigeria. And if you look at the quality of campaign we've churned out in the last 3 years, I think that actually confirms that. And I'm actually going to throw the question back to the audience, and I'm going to ask you, if you look at the brands in Nigeria today, will you say that Airtel is one of the most loved brands in Nigeria? Yes or no? I need you to shout, yes! Thank you very much.
Okay.
So, really, I would say, like I said earlier on, Airtel has become one of the most loved brands in Nigeria. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback online and offline. We've gotten feedback from friends, colleagues, families, always giving feedback to say, oh, we like we like your campaign. There are content that resonates with us. There are content that we can even relate to. So I would really say that yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. And you can see the client in Seun. She wants you to say yes. So that way we justify our retainership as well. Don't worry. Okay, more serious note. But I do know for certain that it had not always been about the stories that we tell now. So just to help our audience, let's go back to where we started from. I mean, even at that point, we thought there must be something that will help us to break the ground, as it were. I'm not sure how many people remember this first set of commercials from Airtel. It was for a promo, and we tried to do something a little different, but again, it's not exactly where we are now in Storyland. But let's just try this.
My sweetheart, I carry my private jet go airport and they tell me say I never fit take up. That's a problem. Baby, don't rush, relax and talk to me. Sweetheart, me bong that thing. Don't talk about I get. Madam, baby, cut.
Call every time. Tell me, you dey thief my money, abi?
No.
Chief calling officer. Now wetin you don't do this time?
The boy don dey thief my money. See how he burn my pot.
Nah, Airtel, just give me plenty credit.
He don't lie. Airtel Smart Connect. Every time when you load 100 naira, they must dash you 500 naira on top. 250 naira to make call. The other 250 naira will give you 50 megabytes of data.
Madam, make I tell you one secret why my credit no dey big finish. I dey always recharge before the time where that one suppose end.
Madam, this one no be jara. Now over jara.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
So like I said, it was functional, but for once we could get people laughing. And it got a little better. I'll play the second one in that series before we move from there to somewhere else.
Madam, this is you carry a reverse joke.
So because Airtel don dash you too much bonus, now you want take call finish me, eh?
Madam, smell is
Akpan. You don't add photography join your work.
Yes, now. I said this Smart Connect don't step up with free WhatsApp. I wearing dash me. Now means if I can't step up.
So you mean say this one too don't join the overjara?
Yes, now. They don't also add bonus to call family and friends. So as I talk to you now, I don't add you. I add madam. Then I put small madam.
Buy an Airtel SIM, recharge and enjoy overjara bonus on Smart Connect.
As I don't add una for family and friend, I don't become family.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
So you can see it was getting a bit warmer, and we were getting results, I must tell you. I mean, that was the good thing also. The client could see that investing in brand building was yielding results. But then, before I go on, I'd like to also bring on stage Maurice Ogwono, who is the creative director of Nuazak. Please come. Please. So is there a show? I'll just stay by the side. Okay, before we move on, we all know from what we've seen, this is not the Storyland that where we landed. So how did we get to Storyland?
Thank you, Heli. That's it's a very interesting question. And I remember when we started, when Airtel decided to adopt the storytelling approach, it wasn't something that we actually just stumbled on. It was something that we're very intentional about. It was something that we're deliberate about, and we knew we were going to go with it. And we've done a lot actually to invest in this strategy.
What does data mean to people? Is it so much about the 3G, the 4G, the 6G, the 7G? Is it not if it really, really works? So we decided to ask, like she said, a bunch of people who were digital natives, young, exciting people who we felt or we still feel that they are the drivers of the consumption of this thing called data. They use it in so many ways. We sat them down and we decided to talk to them to understand exactly. Because if everybody is talking about speed and jumping here and every day, we just wanted to tell stories that are very intimate and very commonplace with these people. And one of the things, when we ask them questions like, for example, what does data mean to you? What would you be like if you don't have data? What do you use data for? Things that came out was like, for me, data is bill. Without data, I'm not alive. That's an insight, Another one said, if I don't have data, I'm lost, One actually used that word. And other people would say, if I have data, I'll be able to connect with my family ones and just celebrate and talk. So we realized that all of these things actually mean that data is life to them. So it becomes easier when you talk with people like that and they give you some of these raw insights. And from there, you can now design communications for them. So when we now said data is life, it's a reflection of the life that they are living in.
Okay, thank you very much. So, in other words, first is there's a product truth. The product could
Yes,
deliver it.
yes.
Even though it was not of that technology, but it had exactly what people were looking
sir.
for. And the other pair guys were celebrating the new, gadget
Exactly.
called 4G. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's see what you did with that insight.
There's a situation, everybody's speculating. They say, what have we done to deserve this constant changing? Father, Father, hear us, cause we trust the failed us. They say, look to the Lord for salvation and he shall redeem you. Lord, I'm getting frustrated, yes, I'm losing my patience. I've been waiting for so long. Close to breaking. They say, what have we done to deserve this troublemaking? Father, Father, hear us, cause we trust the failed us. They say, look to the Lord for salvation and he shall redeem you. Oh, I'm getting frustrated, yes, I'm losing my patience. I've been waiting for so long.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
So we got people doing exactly what you're doing now, warming up to the brand, and we thought, is there a possibility of moving forward? I assume that's where we were. You'd said something earlier, which I found very interesting also, the fact that we were deliberate about, building the brand. And we'll come back to see that later. But I think the thing about doing stuff like this is that you get confident that you have your audience, and you can afford to also be a little bit playful where necessary. And I'm just going to play, but before I do that, it's not about the playfulness. I'm going to talk about win-back now. Win-back was novel for telco at the time Airtel came up with the idea. Win-back meant that if you could go and get your old SIM, you will get some benefits, so to say. Amazing that the other brands started having different equivalents of win-back at some point. What led to win-back, Sheung?
Thank you, Heli. So, if you look at the story of Winback, it's actually an interesting one because at the point in time, we noticed that we had a lot of inactive customers on our network and wanted, like the name says, Winback, wanted to bring them back to the network. And for what was the best way to actually bring them back? Yes, we had an offer, enjoy 20 times and all that.
So
but
I actually jumped Winback. I thought I'd seen that. So sorry, just don't mind me. I missed my cue. We'll talk Winback just now. Just hold it. I think we should see this. I think for me, it's one of the warmest commercials I ever saw. And it was interesting that for the first time, we had the brand actually paying for 2-3 minutes on TV for Alex and Joe during the Christmas holiday. It was, if you know that, apologies, that, clients sometimes can be big on budget. It's not what you expect, but they indulged, us for that particular holiday to play this in full on national TV. We thought that was really good.
I would like to see your face again.
Yes. This one is my first daughter. This is my second daughter. That's the one after that one. That's my granddaughter there. Oh, she's a handful. She is a handful. What's the matter?
I have never seen my grandchildren.
What's your son's name?
John Uka.
John Uka. Is that your son?
Yes.
I would like to see your face again. Yeah. Hey, Papa.
Is that you?
I see your face.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Thank you. So if you ask me, really, I mean, while Lost was exciting, bordering on Hollywood, but I think, we got close to storyline with Alex and Joe. It started really getting warm and, emotional. So let's talk about Winback briefly before we go on.
So thanks, Ellie. So like I mentioned earlier on, at the point in time while we launched Winback, we realized that some of our customers were not really active on our network, and obviously wanted to bring them back, just like the way a groom wants to woo his bride. We decided to bring these customers back, but we felt it wasn't just about the offer. If you see what we did with the story of Akpan, at that point in time we knew it was about storytelling. We couldn't just come say, oh, come back to Airtel's network and then get 20x. Obviously that's not the Airtel style. And so we decided to look for what are those crazy things that people would typically do when they need to get something. And we decided to make this a comedy. Just wanted to reward our customers and just entertain them. For us at Airtel, the way we like to differentiate ourselves is that we always ensure that our communication materials connect. That's very important to us. We also ensure that it engages the audience, and overall it also entertains.
Okay, earlier you mentioned being deliberate. So was that part of the plan that led to bringing Gabriel back, or what?
Yes, that's actually part of the plan that led to us bringing Gabriel back, because after we launched Data is Live, we call it 1.0. The next thing was wanting to go into the home broadband space, and we just thought who would be the best person to do this for us. Obviously, Gabriel came to mind, and we decided to use him. So for us, every creative asset that we get, or every creative platform we use, we always ensure that it's something that is stretchable. It's something that you can use over the course of time. So we just don't like to do things and just do it for 1 year or just do it for 3 months. We like to do it and ensure that it's something that we can use even 3, 4, 5 months down the line, or 3 years down the line, is still relevant. And that's actually what led to having bringing Gabriel back, and it was a perfect fit for this.
So I'll come to Maurice on that.
All right.
And I think as a creative, that's a very challenging thing to do, really. It's always difficult to do sequels.
Yes.
How do you keep that going? How do you ensure engagement and freshness?
Well, I think...
And knowing that telco is whatever any other brand category is a pressure cooker category.
Yes. Yeah. I think we got to realize that Nigerians are people who are wired for stories, and stories are usually alive best when they're in motion, which is continuity. A lot of people know about Marvel here, Endgame, Infinity, Avengers, Captain Marvel, whatever. You see how everything is interconnected. So not like we copied that, but it was, when you're a fan of that kind of storytelling, you also try and look at how you can bring it on board into what you're doing. So we realized that, look, Airtel Broadband is a data proposition. We also had Gabriel Afolayan, aka Bayo, who had been used as the face of data, so to speak. It only makes sense if you use him to sell this proposition as well. So what we said was, he was lost then, now he's found. And when it's found, it became pretty much the king of data. So it became someone that everybody would want to come to be able to experience Airtel's broadband service, which is called Airtel Unlimited, right?
Okay, so let me go straight to that so we can make the most of our time.
All right.
And I think the first two or so you're going to see will be more like introductory or teaser, as the case may be.
Yeah.
Then the last one is the reveal. So let's see.
Hey, bro, what's up, man?
Wait. Sure, son, I want device to carry.
That guy became a star afterwards, believe me.
I can see a lot of signals here. Are you Buz Almighty? Okay. Are you Mr. Lover? No. Okay. Are you Mega Connect? Okay. Are you click and die?
Airtel, the smartphone network.
So just a quick one, as briefly as possible. Did this deliver?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
But what happened?
Yes, it did.
What happened, with this?
Oh, okay. So this sports, it was a new space for us at that point in time because you had a lot of. It's not a space where Airtel had actually played in before, unlimited data. And when we launch it, we will say that yes, it actually delivered. A lot of people actually got the product.
Okay.
And even in terms of storytelling, the story actually resonated.
Yes.
And it beyond the product, it actually rubbed off on all the other brands in the portfolio. Because sometimes you launch a campaign for a particular product, but you see the effect of the campaign on other products. And I would say that is actually what this campaign actually delivered on.
Okay.
Beyond this product, it actually rubbed off on the entire brand of Airtel and also rubbed off on the other products within the portfolio.
That's good.
So I would say it's actually went beyond the objective.
Now, I would like for us to move to the second phase of what we're doing, and it's my pleasure to bring on stage the one and only.
Yes.
Inimitable.
Yes.
Iya Rainbow.
Yay!
You're welcome, man. Please come on stage, man. You're welcome, man. It's good to have you here, man. I will show something first, then we'll ask you the question, right? The next thing I'm going to be sharing with us is a smart recharge. Yes, and it's not just Iya Rainbow. I also have, for this purpose, Iya Rainbow's one and very lovely son, Latif Oshegun, in this commercial. Please come. You see, that's what we promote, culture. Thank you very much. So okay. I think we shouldn't waste too much time. We'll ask them questions, but I'd like to just, because I think this launched a new phase in the development of the brand that we're all very proud of. So I'll play the commercial, and all you have to do is what? Say.
Olúwaṣẹ́gun fún mi. Ó ṣé mo dúpẹ́. Gbogbo ilé lẹ fi tó gift. Mo rí ikọ̀ tún ni. mo ń sọ fún ẹ lójoojúmọ́ pé gbogbo tó ń ṣe fún mi ọmọ á ṣe fún ẹ nílọ́po. abiyamọ ayé abiyamọ ọ̀run wọ́n súre fún ìbàjẹ́ kéré ó tóbi kò ní kún ẹ́. ọmọ òní ní kò gbé tiwa kò ń gẹjẹ. ọmọ òní tiẹ̀ lọ síbi tó ò lérò. ní gbogbo ọjọ́ ayé ẹ ò ní rí bi. tí wọ́n bá ń pín wàhálà ìdààmú ò ní ẹ̀ ní rówó rà. bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ò ní kábàámọ̀. èyí tó máa bá ṣe tó máa kó bá ìgbé ayé ẹ kò ní bẹ́ẹ̀ rí wọn náà ní bá rí. ọmọ adùn ẹnu àbùkù oníkan ẹ o ayé ò ní rí ẹ mú o. mo sọ fún ẹni tinútinú tọkùtọkù lọ́lá ọ̀nà méjèèjì tó kù nígbà yà ni mo súre fún ẹ eré àmú ẹ abiyamọ ayé abiyamọ ọ̀run wọ́n súre fún ẹ ó yẹ sáré gbé bàbá wọlé ó ti ṣú ara ó ti tọ́ ara kò ní jẹ́ tiẹ̀. wọnú ògo tuntun lọ Olúwaṣẹ́gun wọnú ògo tuntun lọ ó yá wọnú ògo tuntun lọ wọnú ògo tuntun ẹlẹ́dàá mi.
Mami, airtime yín kọ́.
ṣé ìwọ ti rókun tó gbẹ̀rí? o ti rí ọ̀sà kó gbẹ̀rí? kò lè gbẹ́ ń bì. àwọn olè ń sọ̀rọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀.
lórí àtàwọn ọ̀rẹ́ mi.
àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ ó yá fi sí spíkà.
wọ́n ń gbọ́ yín.
ní ẹ̀bùn ńlá tọ́mọ mi gbé wá fèmí yìí Ọlọ́run á ràn yín lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀yin náà lè ṣerú ẹ̀ fáwọn.
Get 10 times your recharge value to call and browse anyhow. Recharge with *220 star the pin hash to enjoy this offer. Available to new and existing subscribers.
Mr. Anansa, èmi ń gbàdúrà, ìwọ ń polówó ọjà, ìwọ náà borí ẹ̀ wá kó wá gbàdúrà. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni, a dà fún ẹ. Ṣé orí bó ti ń tajà fẹ́ lòmíì? Àwọn máa sìn wọ́n náà, ìwọ náà àdìrú wà dìgbà, ayé àdára, ò ní dààmú.
Airtel, the smartphone.
So, my question will be for Yarimbo. I don't think Maurice is that vast in Yoruba or anything to write all those wonderful things. How do you find these commercials in terms of how you interpret it your own way? Because it's not the same thing as I'm shooting a film, as it were.
It's our job. I and Shegun, my son, the only son. You see, Airtel is not the first. Just go and do, Mama. I pay for Ewabashi. No, Airtel is different. One of my directors said, Mama, day before yesterday, 3 boys, they said because of the Gele Mama, we bought Airtel. We are using Airtel now. Director Tunde, in fact, Airtel, let's do it like this. We change Airtel face, and Airtel change our life.
Oh, that's good. Thank you very much. Okay. I know that beyond I think the Ami commercial was the first time you came in to the story as mother and son, and we're going to see how that story developed going forward. But what was it like for you in terms of, was it your first commercial to start with?
Yes, I think that's about the first commercial for me.
And you pulled it off?
And then I think that's a life-changing whatever for me. I think that advert gave me the first 500,000 somebody is going to give me for free. I love your Airtel advert. Let me give you something. And he gave me that money.
Wow. Amazing, huh? Okay, so let's move on so we can make the most of our time. We'll see a bit more of that and we'll come back and ask other questions. So, we said earlier that there was Data is Life, which was a little bit of elitist, Hollywood and all that. Now this is Data is Life, our own, 2.0. Yeah. So let's play a couple of things from Data is Life 2.0 where we saw a bit more of Mama and, not just Mama and son, but also in-laws and other people at some point. So let's go on.
Smartphone Network.
If you no get money, hide your face. You can call me small doctor. Ọmọ ìyá teacher. Wọ́n ti gba penalty lọ throwing.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
How easy was it to sign off on this meet the in-laws thing? I mean, again, like we can see also issues of culture, issues of ethnic mingling, and a couple of other things. How did we? I mean, we're selling, data. So how did we get into that? Almost like a series.
Okay, thank you, Hurley. So when we launched Data is Life 1.2.0, that's a story of where we featured Gabriel Afolayan, and then also the other TVC where you had the two grandparents. And then riding on that, we also launched the praying mother. We knew we actually set ourselves up for something. There's this joke we have internally that where we say that we're actually the ones that set ourselves up in the industry, because we know that become a leader when it comes to campaigns. So we knew that the next communication that we had to release had to be something that was top notch. It wasn't easy getting to this space, but when we landed at this space, we knew we had gotten to a space that we could actually stretch and a space that we could actually own. So in terms of landing, yeah, it was rigorous. It was not easy. We had a lot of scripts that we actually killed, but when we got into the space, we knew that yes, we had gotten into the space, and this is actually the space we wanted to stay in. Now, in getting in for this space, what we thought about was that yes, in Data is Life 1.0, we had established the fact that everybody can do without data. But beyond just saying people cannot do without data, data is also something that is for everybody. Today, a lot of people have that mindset that data is for digital natives, it's for young people. And we said, no, actually, data is not just for digital natives, it's not just for anybody, upward mobile individuals. Data is actually for everybody, and that is what you've seen with these two commercials. Because you can actually see the two grandparents. Who else can you use to actually show that data is actually for everybody? Because you can actually see the two grandmoms, the two in-laws actually competing to get data, So like I said, when we landed into the space, we knew we had actually gotten it right. So it wasn't actually difficult approving those scripts, but it was rigorous getting into that space.
Okay. You touched on something which I would like Maurice to speak to. Killing your own babies. When you have those scripts, the number of scripts you have to kill to get to where you are. How do you cope with that without losing it?
Maurice, you're not going to beat me.
Touch us. The thing is to just write these stories and not to be too overly emotional about them. Sometimes when you come up with stories, they look like children that you're giving birth to. But then when you become too attached to them that way, you're able to not see the big picture and what the client would like to achieve. So when you move out a bit, you become not so emotional about them, and you're able to move things around and say, okay, this doesn't meet the mark, take it away, this doesn't meet the mark, and you kill a lot. We kill so many.
less emotion, more work.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on. She spoke about that earlier. I think we're just getting to that space now. Yes, I've been told that these days people ask you what kind of gele you want. Do you want 4G or you want 3G? But again, that's what any brand wants to do. You want to be in the lingo of the people. It's not just speaking to yourself, navel gazing. I want to ask Mama about the gele. You said a little bit of that earlier. How do you? When you go out there, what do people say? Can you even walk freely anymore after this gele?
Mama, please, where is your gele? In everywhere, even in the party. How do you expect me to be that big gele? No, Mama, we want that gele. Even today, Abi, when we are dancing, we are playing gele me gadgets yellow.
Mama, I thought you would come in your gele today. Actually, I was a bit disappointed.
You see, with that big gele. Yeah. I just asked my boy, come. Ṣé gèlè mi ga ju tiẹ̀ lọ ti dorin ni? Because they are playing and we are dancing. Everybody in that hall. In fact,
okay.
I will bring the gèlè next week.
Thank you. So let's just play. Okay, you want to just speak to that?
So you say yeah.
Yeah, please say something.
I think it's a good one that at this time, apart from the fact that I am an actor, I think this advert and Airtel actually change everything about myself and everything about even my own brand, and then people tend to see you in another way entirely from the normal way they have always seen you. So it's the best thing I've experienced, and it's a good one for me.
Thank you very much. I mean, it's good to hear that really as feedback, that when I always say something, every ad is an opportunity. We could have written anything, we could have shot anything, but when you use the opportunity well, you know, the value adding is beyond just what you do. And it's good to hear that from you, because I think it's a good feedback also for the brand team, that there's a whole lot we can do that can rub off each other positively and become better. Let me just play it without wasting too much time.
Everybody body party, I'm gonna look me up and down. I go shake my head, left and right, so that them go know say my gele get shine shine. I go and cut this party, so my gele I your fanda. Even mama Sikira, I see mama she's so bad. I know say they like my gele, but they no go compliment. If you see my gele, it go wound everybody. Gele mi got you yellow. 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 Gele mi got Oga be sign board. Gele mi got you yellow. Gele mi got you yellow. Gele mi gaju ti 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 yellow. Oga be sign board. Gele mi gaju ti yellow. Gele mi gaju ti yellow. Gele mi ma gaju ti yellow. Gele mi gaju ti yellow. My gele big pass your
3G is great. 4G is better. You don't know what you're missing till you experience it. Upgrade to a 4G device and SIM, SMS Get to 141 to enjoy double data on Nigeria's widest 4G network.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Okay, we'll play more in that series, but I have one question for Maurice in particular. I mean, at the point when there was no 4G, so we had the disadvantage of being the only 3G, operator, so to say.
Yes, sir.
We made a kill of it.
Yeah.
And now there's 4G. I mean, it will be daunting for you to say, how do you top that and get people talking and all that?
Yeah.
How did that come about?
So I think the secret still lies in storytelling. I mean, you started this with story, lies in storytelling, and storytelling that also showcases who we are. We didn't have 3G, now we had 4G, where everybody had communicated 4G. But what we did, we communicated 4G in a way that was refreshing. We weaved it into the fabric of who we are. For example, Mama using Aigele to buttress 4G. It was just refreshing. We didn't say speed, get on our board. We just showed that, look, this is who we are. And like I said, 3G is better than 3G is great, but 4G is much better.
It's better. So Shemun, please speak to that.
And
please.
also just to add to what Maurice has said, we are also looking for things that will, like, still in line with of storytelling. We're also looking for things that we're also going to resonate with people. Things that when people watch the TVC, they'll be like, oh, I can actually remember that. I grew up with that. I saw that when I was growing up. And if you look at the story of the portmanteau, I know some people went to boarding school with this box, and some people, you have this box in their house where nobody can actually touch this box. But we're just trying to look for things that when we show you, it will resonate with you, and you also get the idea that you should actually, that yes, 3G is good, we're not knocking that, but there's actually something better than 3G. So the idea is that there's a particular way of doing things, but there are actually other better ways of doing other things also. So that's just what this entire series speaks to.
Okay, so let me just play it right away, and we take it from there.
Is great, 4G is better. You don't know what you're missing till you experience it. Buy an Airtel SIM to enjoy double data on Nigeria's widest 4G network.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
What's the role of music? I mean, it's almost like oral tradition. Music keeps popping up. And I think people need to hear the background to Gelemi Dajutielo. I don't think we had that in mind at the beginning. Would you just want to give us a bit of an insight into what led to that? And the role of music generally, yeah.
So for us as Airtel, music is also part of storytelling for us, and also a way of what's differentiating our brand. And if you look at all our commercials, we've been very consistent with that. So when we started off, yes, if you look at when we started off with the Smart Connect series, we didn't really have that. But as we delve further into storytelling, we realized that obviously music has a role to play, and we started to get the best in the industry to actually help us to do that. And you can see that actually it's been able to help to communicate our message and also ensure that our message actually resonates with the target audience. Also, in terms of music, we just don't just do music. We do music that actually complements the story. So in a way, you don't see the commercial as a different, you're looking at the TVC and then the TVC is different from the music. No, our music, we always ensure that our music actually complements, and even the music itself has a message in it.
If I could add to that, in recent times, Airtel is probably the only brand that I know when they do music and you put it online, people actually want to download those music. Going from Alex and Joe, hey Papa, people were asking for it, then to Gele and so. So music is also an aspect of storytelling. The Gele music, for example, when it came to radio, where you can see stuff, all we did was just drop the music in there and we put the announcer at the end. So when you hear the music playing, it's such a refreshing, it tells you about the concept, the idea, the philosophy behind what we're doing. Not trying to sell you a product, but trying to sell you a lifestyle. When someone says my Gele is better than yours, that means what I have is better than what you have. And then we weaved it into how people used to do Gele back then and how they do it now. Auto Gele versus how they do it. So music is definitely a powerful tool for storytelling.
Yeah, I'll just add to that. I think there's a lesson to be learned since we're talking about the morals of the story. I do know for certain that Gelemi Dajutielo was not the intended song at the beginning. We were going to use a popular song by a particular artist, and we approached him and he said no way, because I think he was working for some other brand. And it was like a roadblock of sorts. And because of that, it was like, where do we go from here? And we were close to shooting and all that. And And when you have such a situation, you put your thinking caps on, and we landed somewhere much better than using that original song. And I think it's something we should thank the client for helping to push us in that direction.
So Ellie, sorry, just to also add to what you said, remember when we started, you asked me a question that has it become one of the most loved brands in Nigeria? I'll say also music has actually helped us to achieve that, because when there's something about music is very emotional. It connects you, and that is what music has done for us as a brand. If you look at the song out there, a lot of people love the song, and because of that, they also love the brand. So there's a connection between the music we churn out there and also the relationship between the brand and customers.
For most Nigerian brands also is we are a jingle country, and I think we should stop dropping the jingles now. We should start dropping jingles now. Music is very important anyway. I know that outside of here, I know there was a particular Levi's commercial that brought back some old songs and went back to number one on the charts and all that. That is what we should use music for. Even when we use music from popular artists, repurpose them. But don't try so hard to sell to people. I think the lesson for me is also the fact that we need to first and foremost admit that the audience is intelligent.
Oh yeah.
Don't think they are dumb. The audience can take in whatever it is I want to sell. Don't spoon feed them. Connect with them more than anything else. And once they find the story, we find people saying like, I went somewhere, they were writing the next series. Oh, I think next series, Mama will do this. That will do that. That's exciting to actually have your audience writing the story for you. And it's not just for the sake of it, but also finding some root in the brand itself that you can actually deliver whatever it is that you're talking about. We still have a few minutes before I play the last thing, and I think I'll leave 5-7 minutes for the audience to, true sense of oral tradition. When we hear stories, we ask about morals and what we've learned and what we can learn. Anybody with anything? Questions, comments? Quickly. Okay.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Ngozi. I wonder how you balance being virtually, because storytelling is actually very visual, and being visual, that means TV and digital. So how do you actually balance your budget? Because it almost feels like you're on air throughout the year. So how do you balance as relates to TV and digital?
So I like to say, sometimes we always make there's this joke internally that we know that we have the lowest budget in the industry, and that's the truth. Airtel has the lowest budget in the industry. But what we've done is to optimize our budget effectively well. So we are clear on where we want to be and at what point in time do we want to be on that particular channel. So it's more around you optimizing your budget, knowing where you want to be, and at what point in time do you want to be on that particular channel. There's really no need me being on the channel or being on air at the particular point in time where my audience are not there. So we are just always there when the audience are there, and that is why you think we are everywhere.
There where you are there.
So it's not just really that we are everywhere. We are just there when you're there. Thank you.
Somebody here. Okay, good.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Adeyemi. Considering your budget that you just mentioned, because I'm a little privy to it, when I was talking to Okoyemi, I don't know how you got it. I don't know how you do it. Because having engaged Mama and my brother, Afis, I will say that because we have other people in your industry. I was one place and they are telling me that Mama should come over to your colleagues, your friends, maybe I believe you understand what I'm saying. Because when I look at it, I don't know who did the job. It's like you went outside what we've been seeing. That even the so-called, the big one, they could not comprehend that. How did you come about this thing? Considering the budget you mentioned now. So I want you to, to tell me, maybe, I don't know, one or two people might want to know, how did you do it? Then who is behind this so-called, all these things? We want to know. Is it the Airtel or the agency? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So for us, two things. I think the first thing is storytelling, and really that's what Ellie's conversation and presentation is all about. We always ensure that we tell stories that resonate. If you look at us as Africans and as Nigerians, we actually like stories. I remember growing up, I used to love to watch Tales by Moonlight. I used to love to watch Storyland by Uncle Jimmy Sholanke. It's all because we love stories. And as Airtel, we realized that this is actually what Nigerians want, and we started to tap into it. So when we come up with campaigns, there are campaigns that resonate, and that is why you will see that a lot of people just want to be with Airtel. And even the brand icons that we work with, when we share the stories with them, these are stories that actually excite them. These are stories that they also want to be part of. I know and I think Shegun can testify, and also Mama Shegun can testify that these are stories that they, sometimes as an actor, when you get a script, sometimes you ask yourself, do I really want to play in this? But the kind of stories that you get from Airtel are stories that you also, as an actor, you want to be part of that story. So I think that has also helped us. And then the second thing is that we work well with our agency by co-creating. We do that a lot, and I'm sure Maurice and Ellie can testify to that. So for us, from the beginning to the end of the entire process, between Airtel and Nwanzak, we work closely together. Airtel is a client that is involved. We are really, really, really involved in everything that the agency shares with us, from the strategy all through the creative direction, the creative strategy, even to script writing. We are involved all through. Maurice, you are smiling, I know, but we are very, very involved, and I think that's our winning secret. Co-creation, it's very, very important.
He said something, and which is very instructive. I'm sure you can go to any of the competing, brands and get far more, but you may probably not be that fulfilled as an artist. He said that doing this has done a whole lot for his career as an actor, and I think that's the instructive thing. So I think that's what we're dealing with. I was just saying that what matters most sometimes is the blessing that comes with it, and the fact that it's not just the partnership between the agency and the client, but even with them. There was no way we could have done Ami by ourselves. There's no way. All those we couldn't have done that. It all came from her. So I think before we wrap up everything, I think there's just one more thing that will tell us that our story has been very interesting today. The blend of this and that, and with you, it has become even much better. And we do hope to continue the story going forward, because the story continues, and that's where we're going to wrap it up with the last thing from here.
Life evolves. You should too. 3G is great. 4G is better. Buy an Airtel SIM to enjoy double data on Nigeria's widest 4G network.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
If I could say something. It was a challenge, but we had to do it. Sell a telco product data without showing a single mobile phone.
Yeah. On that note, thank you very much. It's been a wonderful audience. A round of applause for our stars. Thank you, Mama. Eshegoni. Thank you, Amarimba. Shegun, Mama's only son. Thank you very much. Thank you.
On that note, I'll say selfie time with Mama and Shegun.